Hello, everybody. Welcome
Hi.
to our very first Tea in the Shire book club discussion for The Hobbit. I have here my friend Kelley. Kelley, do you want to introduce yourself and talk about your channel a little bit?
Sure. So my name's Kelley. My YouTube channel is Bookish Kelley, and I'm a Christian, so most of the books I talk about are going to be Christian fiction or clean fiction. Not really into romance though, but I talk a lot about the Bible and classics too. So
Yeah, and Kelley is just so wonderful, and I asked her to come on here with me. Honestly, partially because I'm a little nervous. This is my very first book club, so having a friend here is helpful. But Kelley has read The Hobbit multiple times, and I've only read it one time. So I thought it would be nice to have somebody with more perspective on the book here too. Kelley, how many times have you read it?
I have read it, I believe, 4 times.
Okay.
But me saying that, don't expect super deep things from me.
Yeah, I feel like with Tolkien, there's like this huge variety of depth that you can get. And within my Patreon Discord group, we have lots of people like me that read it for the first time. And then we have quite a bit of Tolkien, I don't want to say extremists, but they know a lot. And it was so awesome having their kind of input on it too. So why don't we let's see the chat and we'll see who all is in here. And I also just want to say to everybody watching, I don't know how many people are going to be showing up to this. I don't know how many comments we're going to get, so I might not be able to get to every single comment. And if I don't, please don't think that I was ignoring you or skipping you on purpose. And I plan to set a 10-minute timer per question, just so hopefully if we get too chatty, we can move on and it just kind of respects everybody's time. So I just want to go ahead and give that little disclaimer, I guess. So if I miss you, it's not intentional. But let's see who all is on here. Looks like we have Erica. Hi, Erica. Welcome. Em is here. Hello, good evening. I think our friends over on the West Coast, what time is it for you, Kelley?
For me, it's 4:30.
4:30, okay. Yeah, our friends on the West Coast, it's probably like 2:30 their time.
Yeah.
But hi, Catherine. Catherine is my in real life bestie.
Aw.
Hi, Casey. Hello. Felicia's in the house. We got Miss Jessie. Hello. Hi, Leah. Awesome. Hi, Grace. Welcome. Hi, Emily. Good evening. Katree's here.
Hi, Katree.
And hello. All right. Thanks, everybody, for saying hi. Let's just go ahead and jump into our questions. So let me find them. I'm new to using streaming software, so let me make sure I have this in the right order. Okay, so I have the questions and they'll show up at the bottom as we're asking. So if people pop in in the middle of a question or something, they can at least see what we're talking about. So first question is, what was your star rating for this book? And was this your first time reading it or a reread? So for me, I gave it 5 stars. It was so much fun and it was my first time reading it. And Kelley?
I also gave it 5 stars, and this, like I said, is my 4th time reading it. The first time I read it, I was in 11th grade. We read it in my 6th grade class. 11 years old in my 6th grade class.
That is awesome. And then when were the other times that you read it? Just years later or closer to
more
then?
recent years.
Yeah.
So obviously this time, and then 2 years ago, and I think 1 year before that as well. Because I was always my favorite, but I just kind of let it be my favorite in the background.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I need to reread this. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah. And is it one of those things that every time you reread it, you're like, yeah, this is a favorite? Yeah. Oh, okay. We're getting some comments in here. Okay, where was I? Hello, Barb. Welcome. And hi, Tess. She didn't finish reading it. Well, we probably are more than definitely going to have some spoilers, but you're free to hang out if you don't care about spoilers. If not, I will be posting this. I'm going to post it as a public link after so anybody can come and access it. I just made it like a weird link to get to because I've been on live streams with friends sometimes and there are some like weird hoodlums that show up. And I wanted to try to keep this as like to our group as possible. Okay, where are we? Okay, Grace says it's first time for her. Awesome. Catherine, 5 stars. It's her favorite reread. Catherine, how many times have you read this book? M, reread for M, 5 stars. 5 stars from Felicia, 2.5 time reading it. Yeah, and by the way, you guys, sometimes like the comments come in so fast that if I click and I skip your comment, I promise it's not intentional because I think I just skipped multiple and I didn't mean to. 5 star, 3rd or 4th time reading. Awesome. Oh, I think that's the one that, oh wait, it was my 3rd or 4th time reading 5 stars. Okay, we just had 2 in a row that said the same thing. I was like, did I put the same one up? 5 stars, loved it so much. 2nd time reading. 1st time, 5 stars. Natalie, hi Natalie, I'm so glad to see you. 5 stars, actually like The Hobbit more than The Fellowship of the Ring. Okay, so Fellowship.
Same.
Really? Okay, Fellowship is the only one that I've read, actually. So that will be my only reread for this whole thing. But it was several years ago, so I don't know if I would like it more or not. I think maybe after the last read, Return of the King, maybe I'll ask everybody which their favorite one was.
You should. They're all great, but
Yeah.
I think The Hobbit's my favorite.
The Hobbit's just so laugh out loud funny. Like,
yes,
so funny. I have to say, I don't reread, but I think I will reread this later on. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to reread or read it to my son in a few years. Like when he gets a little bit older, I think, oh, it'll just be so much fun. Read it for the first time, 4 stars. 4 stars, first time. It was great, but my brain does tend to space out during any battle scenes. I feel that. I'm hoping as the Lord of the Rings trilogy progresses, my brain will be better and I'll enjoy that aspect more. Yeah, and I think part of it with fantasy too is you're getting introduced to the world building and all of that kind of stuff. So you kind of have to learn more and more of the history, and when you know what's going on, like you care more when you get there. I think the only like longest battle scene in a book that I really, really have loved and hated at the same time was like Harry Potter. And it's because you know what's going on and you know everybody. But that was a long scene. 5 stars. I thought it was hilarious also and emotional at the end. Yes. Oh my gosh. I didn't expect to cry. Like the whole book had me laughing so much. Ooh, like 5 or 6 times.
Wow.
Awesome. Can't wait to read it to my boys when they are older. Yes. Not a 5 stars. Sorry. Don't worry. I enjoyed it more as it went along and may like it more as a second time read, but this was my first time and it was a lot. Kind of a slog for a while. I can understand that.
Yeah, Tolkien's a little wordy, so it can be a lot for sometimes.
4 stars, first time reading it. 4 stars because it felt a little bit slow at times, which I know a lot of people actually appreciate. I also hope Lord of the Rings will be more engaging for me. Yeah, so how I rate books, if anybody saw my Instagram lately or my vlog that I just did, I went over my entire rating system and I asked like 5 questions, like in 5 different categories. And I think that it was like a 23 out of 25 for me. And so it was still a 5 star, but there were some parts that I felt like were a little slower. And so I totally understand that. But with my system, I still gave it a 5 star. I read it before many moons ago, but totally good with spoilers. Awesome, Tess. For those like me who can get bogged down with a read, I highly recommend the audiobooks by Andy Serkis. Yes. So good. I paired my like physical reading with listening to it.
Yep.
So good. I started the audiobook with Circus, and it was so much more funny than reading it on my own in my head. Yeah. I feel that way with classics in general, though. If I have somebody reading it, I'm not like stumbling over all the words over and over again.
Yeah.
First time reading, 4 stars. Awesome. I don't mind battle scenes if the focus is on small interactions rather than describing the army's movements. Yeah, I can see that. Reading along with the audiobook was great. Yes. Yeah, it's so awesome. Okay, I'm going to move to our next question. I figured that first one wouldn't take us very long to get through, and I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes, but if we finish before that, then awesome. But our next question is, who was your favorite character and why? You can go ahead, Kelley.
Honestly, I think my favorite character is Gandalf. And here's why. 1, because I love how sassy he is.
Yes.
He cracks me up. 2, because I love the way that he kind of, and this will kind of go along with one of the questions later as well, but the way that he saw Bilbo and was like, "You're perfect for this, and I'm giving you everything that you need to go out and do this, and I'll be there when you need me. I'll show up when you need me, but I'm giving you what you need to accomplish this task, and you just go and do what I've told you to do." And I was like, I love that.
Yes. Yeah, he's awesome. And I love this scene, like the first interaction you get with him, where he's like, "Good morning." And he's like, "Are you asking me if it's a good morning or is it a good morning?" And
Are you telling me to have a good morning?
I literally put an annotation in my book that said, "Me when I overthink." But I know this is probably going to be many people's, but my favorite I put is Bilbo. And just because I related to him so much. But my secondary favorite character, I did say Gollum, because I felt bad for him, but also he was so hilarious. Like in the cave, like he had me cracking up. So I feel like Gollum is like my favorite, I guess, minor character in the story.
Yeah, no, me and my kids, we adore Gollum, but rewind. We adore, wait, what's his other name?
I don't remember. It's in it's in the Fellowship.
Yeah, but we adore the precious version of him, not the Gollum version.
It was one of those things like, like when there's an animal that's so ugly it's cute.
Yes.
That's how I feel about Gollum. Okay, let's see. Oh goodness, so many comments coming in. That's awesome. Okay, Jesse says Bilbo because he's so relatable.
So
I just want to be home in my Hobbit hole and no thank you to adventure. Gandalf or Bilbo? Bilbo hands down, then Gandalf. Awesome. Gandalf was so wise and Bilbo was so genuine. Yeah, you're so right. I agree with you, Kelley. Felicia's is Balin. Yeah,
okay.
I really liked him too. I think he was my favorite of the dwarves.
Yeah.
Bilbo was my favorite because I identified with his love of home comforts. He did incredible things, but always longed for his home.
Yep.
Bilbo, he grows into a hero and feels believable, like, hey, maybe I could become brave like him too. He gets grumpy, but in a pinch, he rises to the occasion, is heroic as just a hobbit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that. He was a good mentor. Yeah. I love Bilbo because I see myself a lot in him. Not wanting to get into adventures or step out of my comfort zone, but when I do, it goes great and I enjoy myself. Second fave was Balin. Yeah, I agree. We just love our comfort zones so much. Kelley, so I can send you this after, but on my Patreon, I released something today, which is called like a faith reflection that I'm going to be doing for our book club and my Patreon members. So it's kind of like a little, I don't want to say news article, but kind of where I just talk about the faith I found in whatever book club book was. And that was one of the things I talked about was the comfort zone and being obedient to step out of the comfort zone, and the Lord, he will provide for you.
Yeah.
Gandalf was the best. I was so excited when he showed up in the book. Yeah, he is awesome. And the sassiness from him, as Kelley said, is so good. Same. I felt really sad for Gollum, right? It was like, you poor thing. I love you. You need a hug desperately. Smeagol.
Smeagol, thank you.
I felt that Balin was so kind to Bilbo and somehow understood him and supported him also. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Favorite is Gandalf. Relatable is Bilbo. Yes. But why Gandalf is with Bilbo reminds me so much of how God deals with me. Firm but loving.
Yep.
And always like showing up at the right time, giving you exactly what you need.
Yes.
Bilbo, inspired by his integrity when it counted. Yeah. Although I found myself frustrated with Gandalf's constant disappearances, I can appreciate his decisions to step back and allow Bilbo to grow in his own, the same way God matures us. Absolutely. Yep. Wow, that's a really great way of looking at it. So they turned The Hobbit into 3 movies, and I only have seen the first 2 parts. But that was one of the things that they tried to do in the movies is fill in the gaps to where like Gandalf went when he was disappearing. And honestly, it just went so over my head. So I think after I finish the book series, I'll need to go back and actually watch it. Okay. So let's move on to our next question, which is, this is a fun one. How do the songs and poems add to the story for you? Do you enjoy them or do you skim them?
I used to skim them. Well, okay, so when I listened to it the first time as a kid in my class, because we did the old audiobook and we listened to it together and read along in the book. And at that point, I was just like, oh, these are fun. And then when I was rereading it as an adult, I had totally forgot about their importance. And so I kind of skimmed through the first song, and then later on, just a little bit later, they're like, didn't you listen to the song? And I was like, no, I'm sorry. And like I went back and I read over it again. But they're so full of information, like about the past or about their feelings. I love them.
Yeah, I think for me, they go over my head like the first time they show up. But I love Andy Serkis's way of like, he actually sings the songs and he puts an amazing tune to them. But I will say, like, the first song in The Hobbit, like, it's talking about the line of Durin and basically everything that happened. And when I read it the first time, I was kind of like, I have no idea what's going on. And then when I was like maybe halfway through the book, I went back to it and it made so much more sense. And because I was like, oh, okay, now I can see what's going on. And I made a note that I think it would be cool if there was a collective book, and there probably is. If somebody knows of this, let me know. If there's a collective book of all of the poems from all of his books in like one volume, because I feel like that would be really awesome to have and to reference back and see like how it all flows, you know?
That would be really cool. If there isn't that, someone needs to get on top of it.
Yeah, well, maybe that's $1 million idea. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Okay, Felicia says, if I'm reading, then skim, but the audiobook singing is so good. Absolutely. My husband loves them. I tend to skim them. Don't hate me. No, we don't hate you. They like go over my head the first time. I think I'm kind of the same way. But once I like know more, you can go back and it's like, oh, wow, that was really powerful.
That's true.
The first time I read the book years and years ago, the songs and poems were tiring, but each time I read it, I came to appreciate it more and more. Yeah, I could see that because there are quite a bit. I like to think of the Misty Mountains song from the movies. It is really beautiful.
It is.
Okay. I think I probably heard that song, but I'll have to look that one back up. Jessie says she enjoyed them. Skim them. I think I'll listen to the audiobook. You absolutely should. Like, it made it a whole different experience.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy musicals, and it felt like that. But I did read them because they were included for a reason and were very relevant. I like the elf songs the best. Yes.
Those are also great.
Yes. I remember when I was reading it the first time, and like, I think I met Elrond and the elves in the Fellowship when I read that a few years ago, but reading about them in this, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like Eden. Like, it's this little haven type of place. But yeah, I really like the elf songs too. I think the songs are a great way to give information, kind of a better form of info dump.
That's true.
That is so true. It's more fun. Oh, there we go. Grace says she tends to skim them. There are collections of poems of Middle Earth. Okay, I thought there would probably be somewhere, and that's something that I should totally get.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye out for that one.
I didn't skim them, but really am just reading through to get more context with the people's history and what is important to them. Yeah. I read them aloud. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I feel like maybe reading it aloud, you might pick up on more too. Skimmed them.
I mean, that's why I make my kids read poems out loud when we're doing poetry for homeschooling, because it makes them actually like think about what they're saying. So that makes sense.
That's a great idea. Really great idea. The audiobook made it amazing. I helped break up Tolkien's writing if you started zoning out. Yeah. It's kind of like a little break for sure. I skimmed through the songs in the book, but I played the songs on Spotify as I read, and I really love them. I didn't know they were on Spotify. Is there somebody like singing them, or is it kind of like from the audiobook? We're going to have to look this up.
I'm intrigued.
I like the music from all the movies made regarding The Lord of the Rings, but the old cartoon versions from the 1970s really had cool music. I had no idea there was cartoon versions of this.
I did know about it, but I think I've only seen bits and pieces of it. I have been wanting to go back and watch it, though.
Yeah, we're going to have to check out the music. Yeah, thanks for that. I skimmed through the songs in the book, but I played them on Spotify. Oh, okay. I think it just resent her message by accident. Yeah, they are just so fun. All right, let's get to our next question. Did any characters surprise you by the end of the book? Bilbo. Well, I know you've read it 4 times, but do you remember like being surprised by anything?
I feel like Bilbo surprised me just, and I mean, it wasn't like oh my goodness, like look what he suddenly did, but just from where he started to where he ended up and like his character growth, that was very surprising for me. Like just watching that play out, and like if you see only the end and then look back at the beginning, it's just wild. But also Thorin.
Yep.
That was not a good surprise.
Yes, I wrote Thorin because I wasn't expecting him to become so greedy, but I mean, like it was his like place. He was the heir of this place, so it makes sense why he wanted this and wanted this to be his. So like I can understand on some level, but I was just really shocked by his character because I was thinking of when he was captured by the wood elves, you know, and Bilbo was coming and he was basically taking care of everybody in their different, you know, cells. And I don't know, just kind of picturing him in that more like humble position where he couldn't really do anything. And then what he became when he got his throne, I guess. Yeah, that one was really shocking for me.
Yeah. Well, and I know it mentioned something about like treasure fever or gold fever or something like that,
Yes.
and that's one of the things that was contributing to that. But it was just wild
Yeah.
going from like the character we had seen in him the whole time to like he flipped this switch and you're just like, hold on, like
Yeah.
you're
It's
not my
like
thorn.
he replaced Smog. Is that the name of the
Yeah.
dragon? It was like
Yeah.
he became Smog's replacement over
Yeah.
everything. Like, whoa. Okay, let's see. Who surprised you in the comments? I don't know how to say this name, but Beorn, maybe?
Bjorn? Bjorn?
Bjorn turning
Sure.
up in the Battle of the Five Armies. Yeah. I
Yeah.
really liked his character. Like, just picturing this big, like, I don't even know how to describe him. You guys read it, you know. But how easily distracted he was. Like in conversation when Gandalf just kept having them enter, he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, send them in, send them in."
Yeah.
Thorin's gold sickness and his treatment of Bilbo. Yeah, yeah. And I think it's like the treatment for me that like how he had to be so humble when he was like imprisoned and Bilbo took care of everybody and was coming up with a plan and then how he ended up. Yeah. Yeah, it was really surprising. I was surprised at how Thorin reacted once they found the treasure. I was pleasantly surprised that he forgave Bilbo in the end. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a moment of repentance before he died too, which was just really beautifully done.
Mm-hmm.
Bard started out kind of gruff, even mean, but later became a hero. Why am I blanking on who Bard is? I'm like blanking on that. Do you remember?
So am I, evidently.
Yeah, for some reason I can't remember it. I mean, I read it like a month ago. It hasn't been that long, but I thought Thorin.
There's a lot of characters.
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many. I thought Thorin too. How he forgot how Bilbo helped him, but then also I was surprised that he forgave Bilbo at the end. I was so happy that they reconciled before he died, but
Yeah.
also sad. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thorin turning on Bilbo towards the end, he reminded me of Gollum. So, oh, that's an interesting comparison.
I was kind of thinking about that earlier today about how,
Yeah.
like, there's so much greed in both of them
Yeah.
at certain points.
And it's like the ring to Gollum is almost like a form of like the gold sickness.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting point. Thorin, you reading the book thinking he is the supposed hero, but his greed was surprising. I do like that in the end he realized he was wrong and that he said about where to place value. Yes,
Yeah.
his quote about like, if more people loved what you love, Bilbo, like the world would be like a better place.
Yeah.
I love that quote so much. I think that's one of my favorite quotes from the whole book. I think Bilbo, a happy realization how forgiving and compassionate he turned out to be, like with Gollum and Thorin. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mercy he showed. Bilbo's courage and obedience. Hi, Kirsten. Yeah, absolutely. The bowman of, okay, yeah, who killed the dragon. That's right. Duh. Okay. Yes, but he became the hero. I was so surprised that he's the one that ended up killing Smog because the whole time I'm reading this for the first time and I'm thinking like, okay, like all of these dwarves are somehow going to take down the dragon. Like Bilbo's somehow going to be this big hero and he's going to be a dragon slayer. And then it was Bard.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. 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 Thank you guys so much. Yes. Slay the dragon Smog. Thank you. I don't know why. Like, I just couldn't think of that. Yeah. That was like very surprising for me too. I think that was the answer in the back of my mind, but I definitely forgot his name. Okay. So, next question is what was the most memorable or surprising scene for you?
Okay, most memorable is when Bilbo and Gollum are doing the what are they called? That word just left my brain.
Oh,
The
they're like quiz battle or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. What are they called? What anyway,
Just
so
call it a battle of riddles.
riddles, thank you. They're
Yeah.
doing riddles. But so that like when I was younger, I was like, "Oh my goodness, like what a weird scene and how funny and like
I
why
loved
are
it.
they both so good at riddles?" And then like realizing how much of an effect that one scene has on the rest of the book and
Mhm.
on, really on the rest of the series. What happens in this one scene and it's laced in riddles. And it just that's the most memorable scene to me for some reason.
I just remember reading that and feeling so called out because Bilbo was it Bilbo or Gollum? I don't know. One of them was like, even an 8-year-old could figure these out. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I didn't guess a single one of them. They all went over my head.
Yep.
But my answer, the most surprising scene to me was Bilbo trading in the Arkenstone. Like when he
Yeah.
handed that over, I was literally like, that did not just happen. And I remember like messaging our Discord group and I was like, you guys, like, I'm really nervous for Bilbo. I don't know if this was the right move. Like, of all things, the one thing that like Thorin wants, like that scene for me, like
Yeah.
it shook me. Like out of the whole book, like that scene, I was just like, what on earth? Sorry if you guys hear Mr. Zion yelling downstairs.
Totally fine.
Okay, let's see. I thought that too came out of left field and killed Smog. Yeah. Oh, what did I do? All right, there we are. I love how a seemingly inconsequential side character ends up killing Smog, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like what happens with his character. I don't remember him being in Fellowship, but I also read it like probably 4 years ago at this point. The riddles. The riddles. When I was 8, it was the invention of golf when a goblin head rolled into a hole. I always like coming to that part.
Yeah.
That's so silly. I love the troll scene in Gandalf's manipulation of the trolls to save them all. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great scene.
Most memorable, the dwarves and Bilbo bobbing down the river in barrels.
Yes.
Yes, and like when he's talking to Smog, one of the titles he gives himself is Barrel Rider. I thought that was awesome. The trolls part. Yeah, yeah. And going back to the barrels actually really quick, like he had this whole perfect plan, and at the end he was like, oh wait, who's gonna put me in a barrel?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
that just cracked me up. The troll scene also. When Bilbo decides to hand over the treasure, immediate action, obedience is what is right. Yeah, and like
Yep.
I was re-looking at the last chapter because there's something I'm going to share from it in one of our upcoming questions. But he handed it over and he was like, "I think you might need it more than you think." It turns out he sure needed it.
Yeah.
For me, when Bilbo and Thorin reconciled, I cried.
Aw.
It was so impactful. Absolutely. Oh, that like whole scene. Just had
Yeah.
all the feels. Okay, let's see. Okay, what moment do you think marks Bilbo's biggest turning point?
I think it's when he kills the spider that had him entrapped because that's his first enemy that he defeats. And he comes out of it like he's feeling like a different man. And he, at that point, he names his sword and then he goes
Yeah,
about like with more determination and more confidence in who he is with rescuing the others. And just everything just kind of flows from that point, I feel like.
that's a great answer. I forgot about that. Um, for me, I put when he comes out of the cave after Gollum and he basically hears all of the dwarves talking about him and he has the ring on and they can't see that he's there. And they're like, he's not going to be like a good burglar and all this stuff. And then at that moment, he takes off his ring and he's basically like, I'm here. Let me show you. And I think that was a moment of courage too, because think of like a group of people talking about you like you're not there or, you know,
Right?
and then being able to like stand up for yourself in front of everybody when he even up to this point in the book, he's talking about like, oh, well, I could just turn around. If I could just turn around and go back. But at that moment, he was like, no, let me show you. I'm gonna be the best burglar ever.
Right. And like at that moment, he really could have just turned around and nobody would have known.
Yeah.
So that was very brave of him.
Yeah. So that was my answer. Okay. Let's see where. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm like trying to see what I've already put up in that. Okay. When he kills a spider in Mirkwood by himself. Yeah, you guys all. Yeah, there's so many that said the spiders. I totally forgot about that. But I remember when I read that scene though, and like he named his blade. For me, like it reminded me of in the Bible when God names somebody because he says, I'm going to name you this because of this. And like Bilbo, he named his sword Sting because of like the situation, and you know that probably wasn't like a huge intended thing because we've learned we have a few like I said, Tolkien like they know a lot and one of the members, his name is Reese, he was talking about how Tolkien never or I don't want to say never, but he usually didn't intentionally put allegory in his books. Like if it was something, it just like naturally came out of him. And so that's one of those things, like when he named his sword, I was like, well, that's like so like in the Bible, like God names people things because of this. And it reminded me a lot of that moment. When Bilbo discovered the ring made himself invisible, I believe that is when he realized he had a special power that would make him invaluable to the team. That's a good answer.
Too.
That's a very good answer. And Grace says, yes, that was impactful. Yeah.
Honestly, that was the second thing I thought of when I saw your questions. I was like, well, the spider. And then I was like, oh, also that moment.
Yeah. Like just standing up for yourself and being like, you know what? I'm just going to move forward with it. I don't care what anybody says. I think right from the start when he decides to go, that on its own was a huge step for him and unthinkable for hobbits. Yeah.
That's very true,
Absolutely. Yeah, well, he did actually leave his house. Maybe he was braver from the beginning, but it just hadn't been tested. Yeah, very, very right. Okay. What faith threads or themes did you discover in the book when you read it this time?
Well, kind of going back to what I said about Gandalf and how like he was like, you are the person that I've chosen for this. Here is what you need to make this happen. Now go do what I'm telling you to do because you're the person that is meant for this situation. And then only coming back when like they really needed him. Like God tells us to do something. We need to just trust him that he's given us what we need. And when we find that we are without something, he'll show up and be there for us and get us through it. So that was probably the biggest thing. And then also, I would say when like just the repercussions of sin, like the whole thing with the greed is something that I had been thinking about.
Yeah, I was thinking about how the ring almost itself kind of represents sin in itself. Like it's very dark and but yeah, going off of what you just said, I wrote down like the chosen one trope. Like there couldn't be a more biblical trope than the chosen one trope because we think of Moses. He was a stutterer and he was chosen to confront Pharaoh and to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. And then we think of like David. He, he was a man after God's heart, but he was very, very selfish and he made a lot of very questionable decisions. Yet he is the one who his line would never be broken. Like our Messiah, our Savior would come from that. And even Jesus, like being born in this lowly manger, raised as a carpenter, not probably the best looking guy out there, but he was the one who was fit to be our king. And so for me, like thinking of how that's what God does, he chooses a lot of the times the people that seem like the least likely to be able to fulfill a task, because God's power is glorified from that. It's like, yeah, that person wouldn't have been able to fulfill this, but because of me, I can make that happen. Yep. And yeah, I think there was something else I wanted to add there, but I forgot. All right, let's see. I felt like Bilbo got a little more bolder after his encounter with Gollum and found the ring. Yeah,
it's true.
I found a lot of mentions of being and staying on the right path and what happens when you leave it. Yeah.
That's true, because Gandalf did tell them to stay on this path that he had set out for them, and like they got off, and that's when all sorts of crazy stuff happened.
Yeah. That's a very good one. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Oh, that's really good. Like mic drop, Barb. The end when Gandalf says the prophecy coming true wasn't luck for Bilbo's benefit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk more about that, I think, on the next question. Leaving his house was like stepping out in faith, leaving the boat and walking on the water. Oh, I love that, Grace. Yeah, that's so really good. True. That's so true. Obedience, even when you're scared. It reminds me of the verse in Esther, such a time as this. Yes. Yeah. I think what you talked about earlier, getting out of your comfort zone and putting other people first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, like, we're called to be out of our comfort zone. We're called to go out into the world. We're called to, like, not remain in this little place. And when that calling comes, you better answer. But God chose who is foolish in the world to shame the wise. I wrote this Bible verse down, actually. Sorry, I got excited. God chose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God chose what is low and despised in the world, even things that are not.
And he's a hobbit. He's one of the smallest creatures in this world.
Yeah.
And he's the one who, like, helps them succeed.
Yeah. Even things that are not, to bring to nothing things that are, so that no human being might boast in the presence of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I closed on my faith reflection today was talking about how, people always say, oh, God won't give you more than you can handle. And I'm like, no, I think God does give us more than we can handle, because his power is made perfect in our weakness. So when we can't handle something, but it comes to fruition because of God's power, it just all the more glorifies him. Yeah. All the more. The chosen one theme. Also, when they were chasing the feasts in Mirkwood, chasing after what wasn't for them led them to be lost. Whoa, that's really great. That's a good point. Wow. Definitely with Gollum, how he was in darkness in the pit, about staying on the path, and how Gandalf was a representation of God with us. Forgiveness, love, and so many things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Gandalf is supposed to be some kind of... Gandalf. Did you hear my husband correcting me?
Yes.
I think it's supposed to be represent some form of Jesus in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I agree.
The love of money is the root of all evil. The greed was so obvious and the consequences are terrible. Ruined friendships for starters. Yeah. Yeah, greed was definitely a huge one, literally from the ring and so on. And yeah, I need to leave my house once in a while. Oh, yeah. Gandalf is like God. He shows up just when things look the bleakest. Makes me think that Gandalf was always nearby and watching. Yeah, yeah. Like God with us. Yeah. I got David and Goliath vibes. Bilbo was so small and unassuming and was going up against literally giants in a giant, I think maybe battle is what she meant to say. You can correct me though. And yeah, like there was so much ahead of him, and thinking of Bilbo just being this small creature, being able to be the one to take care of all of it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let's go to the next question. Okay. Were there any biblical connections you drew to any scenes or quotes? So, like in our Discord group, we had some moments where some of the readers were tying scripture to certain scenes, and that was really cool. So, what do you have, Kelley?
I have two. So earlier you mentioned the quote from Thorin when he says, "If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world." And I thought of Matthew 6:21, where it says, "For where your treasure is, there also will your heart be." And I was just like, well, yeah, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
I loved that. And then also it says, "There is nothing like looking. If you want to find something, you certainly usually find something if you look, but it is not always quite the something you were after." And that made me think of Proverbs 16:9, where it says, "The human heart plans the way, but the Lord directs the steps." So just those were the two that stood out to me the most.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I wrote that I couldn't find, and like I have like a big note here, so I might read it for a second, but like I couldn't find any specific like allegory where this was supposed to mirror this specific thing from the Bible. But I guess it wasn't that much. One of my biggest things that I thought about, and I don't know if this was mentioned in the book or if it was just mentioned in the movie, but one Bible connection that I drew was there was a mention that the line of Doran could never be broken. And it made me think of the line of David, because the line of David could never be broken.
Yeah.
And like David and Goliath too, there was a scene in the very beginning of the book where I think Thorin is kind of explaining like the history of what happened. And there was a moment where his like great uncle or whoever it was, his ancestor was like up against some big creature. And it just reminded me a lot of David and Goliath and facing those. But the line of Doran, for sure. When I heard that, I was like, oh, that's very much like the line of David.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we have anything coming in just yet. But a few of the things that, sorry guys if you're going to put this in the comments, but one of our gals, Kirsten, she had mentioned like in the beginning when all of the dwarves are showing up, she said it reminded her of that Bible verse that says, "Never be caught unawares to like answer the door for strangers, because there could be like an angel in their midst," or something like that. It was a really neat connection. Let me just pull that up so that way I'm not just saying things very wrong. Okay, Kirsten had said in chapter 1, Bilbo is opening his door repeatedly to more dwarves. It says he liked visitors, but he liked to know them before they arrived. Same friend, same. But it made me think of the verse in Hebrews 13:12. "Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby have some entertained angels by unawares."
Yeah.
Which was
That's good.
that was a really good quote. And then Miss Felicia had said, "I love chapter 5. It's just an important part sorry guys, I'm reading this on my phone, so it's very tiny. Part of the plot and character throughout the whole series, the idea that our choices and treatment of others are important, not only in what happens to us, but who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jesse had said, I was thinking about these quotes from the Fellowship of the Ring movie. It's where Frodo said it was a pity Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance. From a biblical perspective, I was thinking about how vengeance is the Lord's. I saw some similarities of when King David had the chance to kill Saul and was even encouraged to do so by his men, but he refused. It happened twice, but one time they were in a cave. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when she sent that. I was like, I sent all three of these ladies. I asked them permission. I was like, can I please put these on the Faith Reflection and talk about them, because they were great points. But yeah, like Saul and he like tore his cloak instead of going after him. Yeah, that was really interesting. Okay, let's see.
That's so good.
Kirsten says, yes, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And the note about hospitality and entertaining angels unaware. Yeah. I thought that was awesome when you said that, Kirsten. I'm loving all the connections to scripture. Yeah, isn't it so cool?
Yeah.
And like when you're looking for it too, you can find it. And there's so much. The angel at the doorstep is such a neat connection because in Tolkien's wider legendarium, Gandalf is basically an angel. Okay. Yeah, that's a really awesome connection. Yeah, and that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. The part where Gandalf was talking about leaving behind the comforts of home reminded me of when Jesus talked about not having a place to sleep. I can't remember the verse off the top of it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, this is why I love stuff like this, because like we're all going to pick up on different things and be able to come and like talk about it. And then like we're all like getting even more information from what you saw and what you saw. I love this stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Jesse. Yeah, and Jesse's the one who made the point about the cave. Like,
that's
Jesse
awesome.
Is awesome. Wow. Tess says, listening in the background, everyone's input is making The Hobbit so much richer and more alive. Good. Realizing things I've never noticed before. I love this. Good. I'm so glad, Tess. Yeah, and we've got an agreement to that. Yeah, it's really, really awesome. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question, but if you still have something to say with biblical connections, feel free just to send that at any time, because I know a lot of us really want to talk about that. Yeah, Jesse's on fire. Yeah. I think it's fascinating how many non-Christians I've met adore Tolkien's book. They don't seem to realize it's kind of a story of the Bible. It's like deep down, they sense its truth and hope. Yeah, I agree. And I didn't realize that it was such a big debate too, like within the fantasy space, that people are like, oh, it's not a Christian book. It's just a book written by a Christian. And then there's a lot of like Christians that were like, no, this is absolutely Christian. And it's really interesting because Tolkien didn't intentionally completely put all the allegory and stuff in his books that he did, but it's like his faith just like came out of him as he was writing this. And I feel like, you know, us as Christians, like if somebody's going to come to me and ask me for advice, I'm just naturally going to lead them to Jesus, because I'm like, that's the truth. And I feel like that's what happened through Tolkien's writing. Like there are so many scripture connections.
Well, it's that whole thing of from the abundance of the heart, your mouth's going to speak. And he had Christ in his heart, and that was what he was going to speak out through this story. And I love that.
Yeah. Jesse sent a Bible verse. As they were walking along the road, a man said to him, I will follow you wherever you go. Jesus replied, foxes have holes and birds of the earth have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. Luke 9:57-58. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Fantasy fans crave that hope and faith content so much and don't always even realize it. Yeah. And I heard somebody say a really interesting quote lately that all stories almost have biblical themes in them, like even if it's like not a Christian book, because we all have this deep desire for truth, you know.
Yep.
And not that, you know, not literally, don't take me out of context with that, but there are so many books that have biblical themes and people just might not even realize it.
Yep.
The Lord of the Rings is of course a fundamentality religious and Catholic work, unconsciously so at first, but consciously in the revision. That's why I have not put in or have cut out practically all the references to anything like religion to cultural practices in the imaginary world, for the religious element is absorbed into the story and symbolism. That was in the letters of J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, I think somebody in our Discord group, I think Reese maybe, sent that quote to us. And when I read it, I was like, whoa. Like, didn't mean to, but it wasn't intentionally supposed to be, but then he kept it in.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love that Tolkien didn't even intend of all the allegory he created to. Yes, out of our hearts comes our speech. Whispers, Star Wars 2. Innocent fans not realizing the allegories, but recognizing the longing for it within themselves. I love it. Exactly. Deep down, we all know. Yeah, because we were all created to have relationship with our creator. And that's our greatest desire. Great quote. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. And you guys, I'm going to move on, but seriously, feel free to keep sending biblical things because I know we all really want to talk about that. So I'm going to read a quote from the last page of here, and then we're going to talk about luck in this book, because this was something that when I started reading it, Reese, I wish Reese was on here. I think he'll catch the replay, but he just told everybody, like, everybody's like just starting this, but I just want you to know, keep an eye out for the word luck and the use of when it's used. And I wish I marked every instance of it, but I didn't. But one of the moments I specifically remember was like in the cave and he took like the leap of faith. I think there was a quote somewhere in there about the luck of getting like out of that situation or something. I could be wrong, but I just remember it being used around that time. So the quote, I'm basically just going to read the last paragraph of the page of the last paragraph of the book. Then the prophecies of the old songs have turned out to be true after a fashion, said Bilbo. Of course, said Gandalf. And why should not they prove true? Surely you don't disbelieve the prophecies because you had a hand in bringing them about yourself. You really don't suppose, do you, that all your adventure and escapes were managed by mere luck, just for your sole benefit? You are a very fine person, Mr. Baggins, and I'm very fond of you, but you are only quite a little fellow in a wide world after all. And then Bilbo says, thank goodness. I feel that. But yeah, just that thought of luck happening. And there's this one book that I had on my bookshelf forever ago, and I didn't really get to totally reading it, but I think it was called like When God Winks at You or something. And it was just talking about coincidences that happen in people's life or things that just seemed like luck. And the author of the book called them God incidences. The person was like, I don't believe in coincidences. Like this thing, luck, that we always talk about, that we hear all the time. And especially in this book, every time he got lucky and got out of a situation, it was the Lord providing a way for him to make it out of that situation. Do you have thoughts on that, Kelley?
I honestly, like, my thought had been that he was indicating it wasn't luck, it was actually like divine intervention kind of thing. And so that was the first thing that I thought about when I saw that. I was like, he practically said.
Yeah, that is like, you really think you brought about this yourself, but also like thinking about that with ourselves too. Like, you don't believe it because you had something to do with that. Like, think about what prophecies are still being fulfilled today in our time. I think like 2/3 of prophecies are actually fulfilled already or some. I could be totally wrong, guys, but it's a lot. A lot are already fulfilled, and then we have some that remain to be seen. But thinking like we live in a time also where something we do could somehow impact the prophecy, and it's just such an interesting quote. Okay, let's see. This is not a specific scripture, but in chapter 8, it says, if they had but known, they were drawing nearer to the end of the darkness, if they had kept their courage and their hope.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something that could preach.
Honestly. Too. Yes, Star Wars too. They would have come to the sunlight again. Yeah. If they'd kept their courage and their hope, they would have come to the sunlight again. Yeah. Reese, we miss you. Reese in the replay when you're watching this. We need you. There is no such thing as coincidence. It's always God's hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that's been happening, this is like slightly off topic, but it's like that topic of coincidence. Like the past 2 weeks, I don't know what it is, but when you like read a Bible verse and then you go pick something else and that Bible verse is mentioned, and then you go online and you see that Bible verse again.
Yeah.
That's been happening to me so much with Isaiah 53, with the prophecy of Jesus coming. Like it was literally in my Bible study. And then I opened up my prayer journal and it was like going into detail about that. And then I was like, this isn't a coincidence. This is the Lord speaking to me. Like there's no way. And then it was like in 2 other places. Yeah. Like God's hand. In my family, we call it a God thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Lucky equals a faith lead. Natalie says, since my hubby and I were baptized, we've tried to stop saying luck and replace it with blessed, because that's what it really is, right? Yeah, I love that. Yep. Luck is God's divine intervention with his grace and his mercy. I think it's not only his way of showing us that he loves us, but it's also a way to impact others. It adds to our testimony. That's true. It helps us love God, helps us love others. It's like adds to his power on display. I know in my life, a lot of people will see coincidences where I see God. Wow, that could be like, that'll preach.
Yeah, you could turn that into like a shirt where you see coincidences, I see God.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to my daughter about that. She makes shirts.
Yeah, I need that on like a mug. God is like, hey, sweetie, pay attention to this. Oh, that's beautiful, Grace. I call that a God echo.
Ooh, I like
that's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, Jesse's getting some amens here. Bad luck is usually consequences of sin. Kirsten, yeah. I wasn't even thinking of the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're so
That's
right.
True.
Just sitting here blowing my mind. Wow. If we are talking about truth, we can't refer to luck as a part of that. Yeah. Because God, he's so intentional. He's so intentional. There's no like, oh, this just happened to happen, Mm-hmm. Okay. After finishing the book, do you see Bilbo's earlier love of comfort differently?
So it reminded me. Okay, so I wrote that devotional about saying goodbye to the comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of how easy it is, because throughout the book, he's always like, I just want to go back there. Like, I want to go, yeah, I'll do what I need to right now, but I just want to go back there. And so he's always yearning for that place of comfort, which there is nothing wrong with us wanting to have a place of comfort. Like, I believe that. But if it's taking your eyes off of the task that God has set in front of you, because you're supposed to be moving forward that way and looking that way, but as you're moving forward, you're constantly looking behind you to what was comfortable. That's going to be where the problem is. And so it just reminded me that, like, just in my own life, I need to stop looking behind me at what's comfortable while I'm supposedly walking towards what God wants me to.
Yeah, you're going to run into something doing that.
Exactly.
But it makes me think about Sabbath, though. Like, God still gives us rest.
Yes.
Like, we're still allowed and supposed to rest, but we're also not called to sit here in our little comfort zone. But with this specific question, what did I write down? Did you see Bilbo's earlier love of comfort differently? And I said, nope. I said, I still love home and my comforts, but it's also important to remember that we weren't created to stay in our comfort zones. So,
Exactly.
in a way, yes, we're not called to stay there and to like never reach out and impact anybody. But the love of it, I still understand.
Yeah, no, 100%. Same.
Okay, let's see. While he was on the journey, he longed for home. Later, we find that when he's home, he thinks of his adventure. Yeah. He's a whole new Hobbit. He was happy, but he wasn't fulfilled. He was comfortable, but he didn't have joy. It was in his obedience that he figured out his place in the world.
Amen.
That's really good, Felicia. Yeah. It's like Lot's wife. We are not going that way and can't look back. Yeah. It's a very good point. Yes and no. Yeah. We are supposed to step out of our comfort zone and grow, but it is the contentment of a simple life too. So I'm conflicted. Yeah, absolutely. If you aren't growing, then it's a problem. But
yeah, you need to have the balance. You can't be one end of the pendulum or the other. Like, you need to find the balance of where God wants you to be.
Yeah, it can be a reward for our growing action. Yeah, like we're supposed to be willing to work and to work hard and to discipline ourselves and to go out and to, share the gospel and all this stuff. But God still, he gives us a Sabbath. He gives us a day of rest that's commanded. And we all know, I'm sure every single person I can be speaking for, when we've gone through seasons where we're just not getting a break, how it really, really just tears you down, like physically and mentally and all the things. But when you get that break, that Sabbath, it's like, okay, I've been rejuvenated. I can now go and do the work I need to do.
Yep.
Ooh, interesting. I learned that comfort can be an idol for me.
I actually have someone in my life right now that has been talking to me about how they don't want to leave their house at all, even to like go to the store for groceries, nothing, because they're just like, I just want to stay home. It's comfortable here. I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how it's kind of become an idol for them and they need to push past that, but they're having a hard time because
that's so
they want to stay comfortable.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Jessie. I didn't see it differently, but I think Bilbo saw it differently and also appreciated it more too. Yeah. God blesses us with our comforts, but we must be careful not to rest in that and not feel the need to obey or seek God.
Yeah.
I was seeing his clinging to comfort at first as disobedience, but later I started to see it as fear of leaving home in safety. But by stepping out of our comfort zone, he can see God's providence.
Yep.
Wow, that's really good. He did like to host people, which is great. One of the gifts of the Spirit. But I think he discovered another gift through his adventures. Yeah.
That's good.
I was looking at Bilbo's love of comfort as really wanting to return home. I think that by the end of the book, he had grown and could appreciate his home and know that he could leave and be okay. Yeah. Like you can go out and do scary things. And we have a God who has provisions. Everything is sifted through his hands. And He'll take care of us.
Yeah. I mean, in Bilbo's case, he might come home and find everything being sold again, but he
Poor
wouldn't be
Bilbo.
okay in that aspect.
Poor guy.
But he's good.
Yes. While I often want comfort in life, I find it can be a crutch that hinders my growth. You know what? I feel that y'all are preaching to me right now. I feel that. I feel convicted and encouraged not to idolize comfort. Yeah. Bilbo is a warrior introvert. That's like
I love
he should
that.
have said to Smog. He should have said barrel rider, warrior introvert.
Yes.
That could be one of his titles. I want to be a Christian more than a tourist, and that's how I knew. How about that? Yeah. Jesus comes first for sure. Clap, clap, clap. Okay, and you guys, we're on our last question. I didn't even have to set timers. I was really worried. Okay, would you accept Gandalf's invitation? Yes or absolutely not? If we're being honest.
Okay, question.
Mm-hmm.
Am I in Bilbo's shoes, or is it Gandalf is showing up at my house to me and asking me to go on something?
You can answer for both, but let's say he's showing up to you.
Okay.
Because
I want to say yes, but if a strange man is showing up, do I know him beforehand?
Okay. Fair point. To me, I'm just thinking, no matter what, here or there, I would have probably been fighting like Bilbo and saying no. And still me thinking of going out on some grand adventure to do something that's like maybe not being a burglar, but I'm just like, no thanks.
I love adventures. I love just like randomly somebody being like, Kelley, let's go do this. And we go and do it without any planning, just going and doing something completely random. I love adventures, but I want to go with someone I know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to just go with some strange dude that shows up at my house.
So you're like a yes or no.
Yes. Like, do I know him first? Is my contingent question.
Yes.
Is on that.
Yeah, because even though I don't think Bilbo met Gandalf before?
He knew of him and saw him when he was younger because of the fireworks.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I knew him, then absolutely.
Depends on how much energy I have that day.
That's true too.
I hope I would say yes. No, I feel that. That's why I'm like, knowing what happened on the adventure, no.
That's true. That's true.
I would accept insert going on an adventure meme. Maybe if my husband come with me, yeah. Well, you wouldn't really be alone. Like Kelley, you were just saying, like, do I know the person? It's not like you're going alone with Gandalf because he brought all the dwarves too.
Okay, but also a bunch of people he didn't know.
Yeah.
I need at least one person I know.
Bring my husband. Yeah, I feel that. I would probably say yes, but then throw up from nerves. Oh, Barb. I'd be like, I guess if you really need me, and probably go reluctantly. Like, are you sure? Maybe. All right.
Oh,
as a fantasy girly, though, this is the dream. Oh, yes to Barb. Yes, but throw up. I'm not sure if a stranger asked me, I would go, but I frequently do last minute things when family or friends ask. Yeah, I'm not a last minute. I'm like Bilbo. Like, I need to know in advance when things are happening.
I'm so the opposite. Like if a friend shows up at my door and I haven't talked to them in like months and they just show up and they're like, "Hey, let's go do this thing." I'm all for it. I'm like, "Great, let's go." Like
I love that. I love to say not all adventures are fun in the moment, but they are always fun to talk about afterward. I
Yeah.
need the Lord's help to see the hard things in my life as adventures with him. Wow. I really like that. Thanks for sharing that, Hannah. I had something similar happen that required a huge step of faith. I came kicking and screaming, but I did eventually obey. So, yes. Oh, laughing at Jesse. Oh, Jesse saying, if you really need me. Yeah, people agree with Barb. I'm so much like Bilbo, and what always happens is I will readily accept an invitation, but then dread it and be thinking about how soon I can go home. Natalie, I relate to that. I am so much like Bilbo too. My first response would be no. However, I'm confident that if the Lord wants me to go out and do the impossible, he will give me the strength and desire and the ability. Yeah, you're so right. And it's something too, like if you feel that Holy Spirit nudging you too, like this is something you have to say yes to, we need to obey that for sure. And this whole like yes, no, it reminds me of that Bible verse that says like, let your yes be yes and your no be no. And that's something that I personally have had to, like, thinking of what Natalie said, always readily accept an invitation than dreading it. Like, I'm trying to think, like, okay, is my yes really going to be yes to this specific thing? Or is my no, should I just be honest and say no?
I think that's part of the reason why I hate planning things ahead, because if I'll say yes because I'm excited about it in the moment, but then like I have all this time to just be thinking about it, and then I'm like, maybe I don't want to do this now. So like, the best way to get me to do something and be excited in the moment is to get me like on a whim.
Yeah. Casey says, I would say, you want me? I'd probably be like Jonah and say no, but if God and Gandalf kept pursuing me, I'd give in and say yes. That's a really interesting connection to make, because Bilbo was pretty much like, no, no. And then he got the letter and he's like, probably still no. And then Gandalf showed up and was like, no, it's a yes. God cared not just about Jonah, but also the Ninevites. Yeah, that's a really good connection, Emily. Just like it wasn't all about Bilbo, it was about so many others. Yeah. Really, really good connection. Yeah. Well, that's all of our questions. If there's any like last minute thoughts anybody wants to send, but I really loved this book. It was
that makes me so happy.
It was so much fun. And I remember when I read The Fellowship, we're going to be going into that next, but there was a scene with Bilbo, and I didn't really know much about Bilbo or his adventure, which now I know it all. I know it all. Probably not. But there was a scene that I remember like crying to. Like I was sitting in my car, like listening to Andy Serkis and reading The Fellowship, and then Bilbo showed up in one scene, and I remember literally sobbing. And then I like had to go into the office, and then my coworker who like was the one that was like, hey, you have to read Lord of the Rings. He saw me crying and he was like, oh no, are you okay, Kay? And I was like, I just read this thing with Bilbo, so now I'm actually more nervous to read The Fellowship because now it'll have more meaning to me when I read that scene again. I'm like so scared. But really excited to like know this back. This part. Yeah. Okay, let's see what we're saying. Catherine says this was really fun. I'm so glad. I think I was probably so nervous for nothing. Thank you for doing this. Yeah, of course. It was so much fun. And thank you, Kelley, for being on here with me too.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it's like so much fun. It made me think of how called people sorry, I need to rethink. I don't know why my brain just like short-circuited. It made me think of how called people, and most were very reluctant and were like, who, me? And gave excuses why they were the wrong person for the job. I'd probably react the same. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Jesse said how God called people. Yeah. Very first book club, very first Patreon involved. So worth it. I'm so glad.
Oh,
Yeah,
yay.
you're so welcome. Thank you so much for like joining and being here for it. That's awesome. Thanks for making this available to a broke college student. Of course. Thank you so much for reading and joining. I've been wanting to reread the Middle Earth books for a while now, so I'm glad you chose these books for your book club. Yeah, I'm so
Yay.
excited and jumping into Fellowship of the Ring next. It was so fun. Thanks for doing. Of course, thanks for joining. Of course. Oh, I'm so glad you guys had a good time. It was really fun for me too, despite all of my pent up like nerves. I'm so happy you did this book club with these books to start. Not sure I would have read them so soon. I actually bought them all last year, and then this book club came up, so it was totally God. Yep,
That's
it was.
awesome.
It was your God incidents, your God echo.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It was kind of one of those things that I've been like meaning to read these books for years, and I kept telling my husband, "I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna." He hasn't read them. He loves the movies.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, he corrected you on how you pronounce Gandalf's name earlier.
He loves the movies.
So it's from the movies. Got it.
I kept trying to tell him, like, you need to listen to the Andy Serkis narration. Like, you would love it. You would love it. So I'm still working on that. But yeah, it was one of those things I'm like, I just need to read it, but how can I have accountability to do it? And I think part of it is just like nervous, thinking like, oh, this is so much. I'm not going to comprehend this. I'm so glad. This was lovely. I'm encouraged to definitely finish the fellowship by the next book club chat. Yeah, you can do it, Tess. Yeah, it was awesome and so engaging. Yes, I love this community too. It's so wonderful. Yes. Ah, you guys are so wonderful. Kay stepped out of her comfort zone,
Yes,
just to like host this book club, to start Patreon, to do all these things. Maybe I am more like Bilbo than I think. I was just starting to reread The Hobbit, and I knew it was a God thing when you said you were going to. Yeah, oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Yes, of course. Will Kelley be back for the next one? Well, I guess we'll just have to see. I don't know.
We haven't talked about that yet.
I mean, I'm more than happy to have Kelley back if she reads with us. I mean, even if you don't, you've read it before. But everybody, Kelley's Kelley's YouTube is in the description box. So if anybody wants to go subscribe to her channel, I highly encourage you to do so. She's so wonderful, and that's why I had her on here. But yeah, if you guys want to go check out Kelley's channel, please do. Yes, of course. I'm so glad that you guys were all here and willing to spend some of your Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Willing to spend some of your day doing this and talking about it. I don't think I intentionally planned for this to be on Valentine's Day. It was one of those things that as we got closer, I'm like, oh, that's Valentine's Day. But we don't really do anything. My husband got me some beautiful flowers back here. But yeah, all right. So I think that's everything. So just thank you, everybody, for joining, for being here. That was a really awesome and productive conversation. And I feel like everybody probably got something new out of this conversation.
I know I did.
I would think so. Like, that was just so awesome. So, all right, I will have this posted publicly. So if anybody wants to come back at any point to revisit anything, it will be there. And then also, if you want to keep an eye on the comment section, I'm sure more people will start to put in their comments because quite a bit of people said they would catch the replay. So yeah. All right. Bye.